study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
The best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go!
Thank you guys for joining me again today. This is going to be part 2 of the interview with Josh. He is the owner of Sushi Squad. And my name is Bill Moore, the Executive Director of the National Street Food Vendors Association. And welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. So we'll go ahead and jump right in mid-conversation with Josh and myself. We're talking today about stopping the scroll.
Also, where I know I picked on the whole catering thing, but if we want to talk about the food truck thing, I actually typed in food truck near me in Dallas, Texas. There is almost 15,000 people per month looking for a food truck near me. Food van near me gets hit 15,000 times as well. Indian food truck near me, 8,000 people per month. Taco truck is 7,000. So the whole food truck scene, even though it's been popular for a long time in Dallas, there's
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend, walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Still that many people, and that's even more than a catering. So if you want to talk about your day-to-day operations, depending upon where you're at in the city of Dallas, you could show up for food truck near me. People are still looking for that. So that means they're not always finding you on social media. These are people who are looking for new trucks. These are new opportunities, not your existing clientele. Because your existing clientele, you've sold the experience, if you've sold the food, they're going to be lifelong lovers of your food truck. That is kind of a give me. You know, you've worked hard to establish that. That may not ever go away. You might always have that. The goal is to have those new customers and new clients coming in.
That's an amazing number of people searching for different food truck cuisines when you think about it. I realize that Dallas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area is huge, but that's still a bunch of searches. That's more searches than there are food trucks in that area for sure.
I believe that. I believe that. So we're in the tune of, between food truck searches and catering searches, we're literally in the tune of 20,000, well over 20,000 searches per month.
For sure.
That's
for sure. Yeah. And it makes me wonder, because I do work with a lot of food trucks in that area, why they aren't as busy as they should be, because there's so many people looking for them. Why are they not finding them?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it comes down to visibility. We solved the visibility issue. Now all of a sudden you're getting additional phone calls you didn't think could exist. Social media is great. You post on your own page. The problem with those business pages, how social media works, and most of you guys probably already know this by now, is Meta wants to make money off of you, right? And so if you post on your own page, there's not one new customer that will ever see your post. Meta is designed to stay within your own ecosystem, so only your own followers actually see your posts. Matter of fact, how the algorithm works is, let's just say you have 1,000 followers, right? How the algorithm works, when you post on your business page, only your own followers see your post. Now, the kicker is, on a good day, maybe 8 to 10% of your followers actually see your own post. So if we're talking 1,000 followers, that means what is the math on that? 100?
100, yeah. 80 to 100, yeah.
Ish. Yeah. So it's still a very small portion of people even seeing your own post. So if you're advertising something on social media, you've got, some holiday sale on your brisket or whatever. I mean, there's only so many people that can actually do it. Why does Meta do that? Well, because they want to make money off you. If you want to expand your reach, they cap that so that you have to spend money with them to generate social media ads. That's how
Not
you
a paid ad.
paid ads, exactly. That's how you break out of the box. So, and you can run those ads and you can, get a bigger reach. But again, social media is great for food trucks. I mean, tremendous for food trucks. It's a visual thing. Food is visual. It's an art. It looks good. You can almost smell the food through the photos sometimes. But again, social media advertisement is interruptive marketing. They're just scrolling on their phones. So your job is to create a sexy enough ad that it stops them from scrolling. Now, even if you pull that off, they may have already eaten lunch.
Yep.
Or maybe they're not in the area, so it takes repetition for them to see that social media ad, for them to remember you for the next time. So you can always generate leads on social media. It's just a little bit different. It's a little bit harder than being visible on Google in real time, where there's 20,000 plus people searching for you. You just have to be visible to capture it. So the intent is completely different. You've got Google, where people are searching now. They're looking for somebody today, right now. Social media is interruptive marketing. And so those are kind of the difference between the two styles.
That brings up a good point. You were mentioning if you had 1,000 followers, the followers are basically the top of a funnel. And what you care about as a business owner is what comes out the bottom of the funnel. So if you have that 1,000 followers, whatever the follower count is, roughly, like you said, 8 to 10%, they're committed. When they see your post, they're going to do something. Now, it may only be like it.
Right.
So if you think that, again, 10% are going to like it, they're showing you they support you. That's awesome. Makes you feel good. The problem is it's not money in the bank. Out of those 10%, now you're back down to about 10 more percent. Essentially 1% of the grand total you have actually goes somewhere and comes and buys your food and gives you money. So you always have to be increasing that top line number. That's why we want to have the followers, because eventually it filters down into them spending money. So you need a big follower count. What you got to think about when people, I want to go viral and have a million views or whatever, you don't need to be that big. Viral technically is whatever post you make exceeds your follower count. So if you have 1,000 followers and suddenly a post gets 1,200 likes, okay, you've actually gone beyond what you potentially could have gone. That would be viral. And it doesn't have to be the millions. It just needs to be better than what your normal performance is. I agree with you completely. People like the pat on the back when they get the likes and the loves and the hug emojis and all that. But if we don't put money in the bank, not real helpful.
Yeah, that's true. It's sometimes we catch ourselves yearning for those likes and those follows. But I learned quickly in my food truck sushi squad, of course it felt good. Like people are like supporting you and they're like bantering back with comments, and yeah, you're on cloud nine. But until they're in front of my window with their wallet out, it doesn't make money. It doesn't make sense. I mean, no follower is going to pay your bills. You know what I mean? So they got to be at your window ordering the food in order for that to actually really count.
Absolutely. I mean, you want followers for sure.
Yeah.
And I would never down having followers, but that can't be your focus. Your focus still has to be on, I need paying people, paying guests. How are they going to find me and then come to my business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that's what I've been able to do with Sushi Squad is, like I said, I was able to get myself ranked in about a month and a half on most of the keywords I was targeting. I started getting those phone calls coming in. I'm all, holy cow. I just literally spent, first of all, okay, so I spent $19,000 in marketing. That was my budget. And I hit the budget and it didn't do a thing for me. Now, I'm not saying marketing isn't going to do anything for you. It needs to do stuff for you. But a lot of these marketers out here will just basically take your money and just kind of, oh, yeah, we're doing this, that, and the third. And if you get busy because you're in busy season and you don't question anything or you don't ask them for communication, they'll gladly just take that monthly retainer and oh yeah, I'll give you a couple fancy reports. Oh, we're getting 2,000 views on your page this month. Okay, well, how many came in? Type of thing. By being able to leverage Google and get ranked, I actually had real phone calls coming in. I built a CRM, a customer relationship management software tool, started collecting these people's names, phone numbers, what they were interested in and like what type of event. These are real numbers. This is real money that came in to Sushi Squad, and I didn't have to work as hard as far as like my day-to-day operations for just parking somewhere. I was able to fill a lot of my schedule with caterings, being able to travel a little bit for big caterings, and really that's kind of how I got found with being able to cater for some music artists as well, as they would search for food truck near me or sushi catering type of stuff. And, that's how I was able to actually cater for Post Malone and a bunch of other celebrities here in Utah that came through when they were on tour. But all that stems from being able to be visible, and you'll be able to open a ton more doors for yourself way easier. As far as like Google goes, we leverage our Google business profile. There's a lot with the Google business profile that a lot of people don't necessarily maybe even know that's there. Your photos. We've all been, have uploaded a couple photos to our page, and maybe even your customers uploaded a photo to them. If they were really happy about your food, they've uploaded a couple photos, and that's great. One piece of the puzzle that, needs to be optimized. Google expects 5 to 10 uploaded per week type of thing. And so your Google business profile is kind of like your online storefront. You've got two restaurants side by side. One restaurant has debris and leaves sitting in front of the door with cobwebs. They really didn't clean their windows. Then the other restaurant has swept the front door. They've cleaned their windows. Which one are you going to choose? The one that looks a little bit more polished, right? The one that looks like they've taken a little bit of effort. And so your Google business profile is the same way. If it's just empty, you've got, maybe a couple reviews, maybe a couple photos, but there's quite literally, it looks like a ghost town, then your customers will be like, should we trust this? Because your customers will go to Google you, your business, all day. They want to see what other people are seeing. Google's the biggest word of mouth advertiser out there. And word of mouth is the best trust source that we can find, right? Mm-hmm. Google's massive for that. But if your profile looks empty and it looks like you may or may not be in business, they may choose somebody else based upon that. If your Google profile looks polished and it's got fresh updates every single week, your customers see that and they feel that. They trust that too. So it all comes down to online trust, and the more time you spend on your Google business profile, the more Google ends up rewarding you, and you start ranking above your competitors because Google's like, oh, these guys are putting in all this work. We can trust the work and the content that they're putting out. So photos is a huge thing. Google Update posts, if you guys don't know what that is, we could talk about that later, but those are money. Those are basically like mini blogs that you can post every week to your profile. And the kicker of this whole thing is the secret sauce to being visible online is content. Content is king. Text, words. The reason why is because for Google and Bing and AI and all these search engines to trust you as a business, it can't just pick up the vibes in the air and like, oh, that's the best taco truck in the world. You should go check them out because I'm getting these sensations in the air. No, it has to read about you. That's the only way. And so if we don't have enough content on our website or our Google business profile, we're going to be buried at the bottom and never surface. Our website's going to be buried. Our Google business profile is going to be buried as well. So we have to generate good, clean content that Google can read and trust and index. And the more of that we push, the more Google trusts us. And then Google starts rewarding us to be more visible than we used to be. There's like 8 things on a Google profile that needs to be optimized every single week. And we can get into that a little bit later, but Google gives these opportunities to us. And if we take them, Google just starts rewarding us. And that is how I was able to rank myself. Plus, besides also being a marketer, I know the type of content that Google was looking for as well, and keywords and cities and geo, but it's wide open. I know there's a lot of competition in your guys' cities. I mean, how many people do tacos? How many people make Indian food? I mean, it's not just you. Trust me, I know there's hundreds of competitors in your area, but the terrain in most of your guys' areas, even with Dallas, the terrain is weak. There's not a lot of people capitalizing on it because they just don't know what to do. Where you think, oh, I just opened last year. How am I going to compete with the person who's been in business for 10 years? It's possible. It's more than possible. I've done it with a lot of food trucks and clients myself. And when you look into what your competitors are doing and they're not doing, you start opening your eyes and thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, they're they're not even touching their profile. Like, what? So then you start to see that it's completely wide open for somebody to take. And in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of restaurants that don't even touch their stuff either. They just collect reviews all day and they don't do anything else.
It's interesting. There are people that, like you said, are review collectors. You want to duplicate when people brag about you, you definitely want to duplicate that activity. Then you also got to take serious the ones that, even giving you mid reviews, not negative, just in the middle. What can I do to impress them? And so many food truck owners will cross their arms and say, oh, that was a competitor. That's not a real review. Oh, come on. I go to food trucks all the time that I don't compete with, and some of them I love, and some of them their food sucks. And I'm not afraid to tell them the food sucks.
True.
They need to know, because if they don't understand their food isn't good, or the service or presentation or whatever, they're going to cease to exist. And every time a food truck closes, it makes all the rest of us look bad. Well, that industry must suck because look how many people come and go.
True. That is true. Yeah, reviews are good, whether they're positive or negative. Those negative reviews can definitely help set us apart. If we handle that negative review
there you
properly, and we can come out on top as professional and taking that criticism lightly with apologies. Because when those people read those reviews, and if you've handled yourself properly rather than being combative on the review, people feel that energy. And if it shows that you're empathetic to the reviewer who had a bad experience, they're going to see the negative review. They're like, oh, I don't know, should we eat here? Then they read your response. Oh, they try to resolve it, and that guy was not having it that day. That is a whole different story than a negative review. And you're like, oh, well, you did this when you came through. It speaks volumes for sure.
It absolutely does. We talked earlier about me traveling so much. A lot of times I have to book my own hotels. I am a cheapskate, but I don't always look at price. I start with price.
Yeah.
But then once I see the prices, next thing I look at is the reviews. And if the reviews aren't where I expect them to be, I'm not talking, I want, 9s and 10s on hotel.com. I'm fine with 8.2, whatever, but I want to see what they're talking about. So
Right.
Even though people may knock them down, what's the negatives? And if I see consistency in the negatives, okay, I may need to move on to another one. And that's the same thing with a food truck owner. When somebody complains one time about one thing, that's just an instance. That's an occurrence. That's just something that happened. 2 times is a coincidence. But when you start to see that third one, that's a pattern. And if you're not resolving the pattern, people will see that in the reviews and go, well, he's been told 3 times he has cold food. Why is he not responding? Why is he not fixing it?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you say at that point, even if it is positive, but then there's, we're going to work better to have hot food. And then later on, there's still another one that says, oh, the food's cold. So it's not just responding professionally, which, yes, absolutely you need to do. You need to act on whatever it was that was wrong and fix it.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by Beneful. Dogs of the world, lend me your ears, snoots, and little toe beans. We've been sitting and staying for boring food for too long. It's time to demand high-quality ingredients, fresh from the pantry. Together with Beneful freshly prepared meals, we can start a mealtime revolution. Can I get a woof woof? Kick boring in the bowl with Beneful freshly prepared meals. Visit Purina.com/Beneful to shop now.
Absolutely. Yeah. The time will tell if the reviews keep coming in the same, like you said, more than just, a couple of instances, then that's the bottleneck in your flow. And you definitely need to fix that. And
100%.
Because that comes down to trust. Again, those reviews are
Exactly.
a big trust factor. That's your biggest conversion. When they see those reviews, if they're positive, great. If they're negative, but you handled yourself well, if you've squashed the issues and you no longer operate that way, that is a huge conversion piece. And your future customers who don't know you yet are more inclined to try you out for the first time.
The perfect way of saying that, so that folks understand, the very first bad review that I got, or negative review, and it wasn't horrible. It was just, I was expecting, a 5, and they were like, 2 or 3 or whatever it was. And of course, it just broke my heart because it was an online review that everybody could read. It wasn't, like in the 80s when we had comment cards, and if they were bad comment cards, we just tear it up, throw it away. You didn't have to worry about it. But, now everybody else reads them. So, it hurts your ego a little bit. And that's just something you've got to get used to. take the feedback, because you're not Jesus. You're not going to be perfect. So quit acting like you're going to be. Accept that you're going to make mistakes, and then be the bigger person and say, you know what? I did mess up. I did serve. I was really slow that day, or whatever the problem was. And just own up to it and say, you know what? Come see me and I'll make it up to you. And people will appreciate that you tried to fix it, like you said. All righty, I think we'll take a break right there. This was a fairly long episode. We got number 3 coming up tomorrow, and it's about the Google business profile can be actually more important than a website. So thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything helpful that we do, please consider subscribing. If you love what we do, show some support. Join our association. It's nsfva.org. Again, National Street Food Vendors Association. We're all about helping people become successful. $19 a month. We've got all kinds of live coaching. We've got live training classes once a week, every Monday night. We have 30 hours of recorded masterclass training and all kinds of job aids to help you on your road to success as a food truck owner.